Hello, it is Diane with Diane's Blue Hearts and Butterflies.com, and I found a great way of making multiple cards showing off the designer series paper of some that I really like. The idea came from Cheryl Dorsey. She used the perennial lavender and showed all the different ones. I think it was like 4 or 5 different cards. And so I took her idea for this great fold or card, the mechanism, whatever you want to call it, and kind of used stuff that I already had because I'm trying to reorganize and fix things in my craft studio so that I can use the stuff that I have up, and I've been converting all of my stamps to the new packaging, and I've pulled out a bunch of old stamp sets, that retired ones that I have, and using them. So I wanted to kind of go over this card with you. It basically utilizes one piece of cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 11. And you will take this piece, and I'm using an old trimmer because mine is in my house and I'm out in the studio. So you're going to want to score this piece at 5 1/2, which is the center. And and before you do that, then you're also, so score it in half, and then you're also going to want to cut it at 8 inches. So you'll move this over so that this score line moves this way, and you'll move it over to 8. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to cut off 3 inches of that card base. And then you'll use that piece you cut off to create the rest of the card. The creative fold idea. And this allows you to be able to show off a bunch of the papers. So I used white cardstock for the inside message, is 2 7/8 by 4 1/4. And then I used white, and I used the nested essential, the kind of rounded rectangles. I used the largest one, and I cut one out of white, and then I used an old retired polka dot folder on that, and then I used the same large one and did a piece of vellum, and then the one just smaller, I did another white piece, and this is going to be for the front of the card. Now, the designer series paper, over on my blog, I wrote the measurements with a little kind of message out next to it. If your paper is directional, you need to pay attention to how you cut it. So the one that goes on the inside is going to be portrait, so it's going to be in the direction in portrait. So 4 inches across the top, 5 1/4 down each side. Then the piece that's going to go on the front of this piece, again, if it's directional, you want to make sure it's in portrait, and then it will be 2 3/4 across the top and 4 down the length of it. This other one, if it were a directional paper, so say I had it this way, I would want to make sure that I have this in landscape, so that the 2 1/4 is the shorter side, and the 4 is across this way. So the 2 1/4 would run the same direction as the paper, and then it would go across at 4. This one just hasn't, I'm using the back side, there's not a direction for that, so that one is going to be fine. So I want to go ahead and adhere these together and get these. You are going to be stamping your sentiments on the white pieces, and don't glue the one on the inside, the white message for the inside, on until you put this little piece on the front. Right now I'm just going to adhere all of these to the inside. I had a lot of this perennial lavender paper. I believe it's on last chance right now. This is May of 2026. And then I just kind of hold it up to see that I get kind of an even margin around, and then I stick that down. And then this piece I'm going to put on the front flap. And again, I just kind of hold it up with my fingers to get that margin, and then I stick it down. Now you're going to want to make sure that you use your bone folder to get a good crisp edge. Then you're going to want to make sure that you do not add adhesive below this front flap, or else it would stick the whole thing down. And you want to make sure you're in the right direction. I'm just going to run a couple of lines of this adhesive. You can use whatever you like. I am not good with white liquid glue. I think I can run one more. So I tend to not use that because I get it everywhere. And then you're going to want to hold that flap down, kind of hold this up so that you can get it kind of centered, and then you will glue that top part down. Just make sure you don't have any glue that's going to stick this here. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp these. This stamp set is the Lots of Lavender Old Retired set, and it is kind of a multi-step stamp. There are several in the catalog right now that are really good. And then I am using one of the sayings from this Lots of Happy card kit to use on this. I'm also using some old punches that I have because I wanted to create kind of a little label for this. And so I took two. This punch doesn't go through all three at one time, but I wanted to kind of get them at the same place. So I put the two large ones together, and I went ahead and punched that. Then I took the smaller one and laid it. I'm actually going to lay it behind right now so I can see where those holes line up. And then I'm going to put that on there, and then I will punch that one. Then these are going to get together. I got to stamp this one first though. So I used, you can use fresh freesia, you can use Highland Heather, or whatever you want for this. And it's best on the front, especially if you're going to be putting a message over it, to do stamping off. So let me show you what I mean. So it's called second generation stamping. You stamp off, and I'm just going to stamp on here, and that takes some of the ink, and then you can stamp again for the second time, and it makes it lighter. And I'm just going to set that off to the side because I will need that again. And then I'm using black. Now Stampin' Up! Has a new black that is going to take the place of the Memento, and it's supposed to work with, see, they said it would work with the water-based inks and the alcohol markers, so it's more versatile. And so I'm just going to stamp this. It says, for being a friend, thank you for being a friend. And I'm just going to put that on here. And then the one for the inside, this is where I'm going to do the two-part stamping. Oh, I'm going to do Gorgeous Grape for the flower, or the detailed. So this one has more of the details in it. And so I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape. And you want to make sure with photopolymer that you do have your Stampin' Pierce mat underneath so that you get a good contact with the stamp on the paper. And then this particular stamp, like I said, it has this background stamps that you can then, getting this shaded spruce out for the leaves. So I'm going to use the fresh freesia, and again I'm going to stamp off so that it's a little bit lighter shade. And then this covers over where all of those little flower petals go. And you just stamp over, and it gives it kind of a little watercolory looking thing. Then it has these ones that do the leaves, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp those. And I did stamp off so that they're a little bit lighter, and you just kind of line them up. There are other stamps out there that do this, and that's how you do that. And then I'm just going to leave the message inside that I can write in later. But let me put these inks away before I stick my fingers in it and move these stamps off. I'll have to clean those up in a moment. All right. So then what you're going to want to do, you don't want to add this part until, like I said, you get this front part on. You'll add your glue to it, whatever glue you choose to use. And then what I would recommend doing is open this up, make sure that this is in the right direction. So you'll flip that up. You're going to want to get that lined up so that it's kind of centered against where that line is. And then you'll take this bottom part and fold it over and stick it on. That way the white is hidden behind this. And then you can take these, and I just have some old twine that I had left over. Like I said, I am trying to use up a lot of my old supplies. I've been reorganizing my craft studio so that I can put stuff out to use it, because it's been hidden down on shelves and things like that, and I forget to pull this stuff out and use it. I found that I have so many embossing powders and glitters and sequins and brads and a whole bunch of other stuff that I have not been using over the years, and I really need to just start using that stuff, and that way I don't have just a hoard. And so I run this, I doubled it up, and then I ran it through those holes, and then I'm just tying a bow right here to go on the front of the card. That going. Come on. Why am I having trouble getting that last one? Okay. Hold on. Try again. Tie this around. This is kind of stiff twine that I have here that I'm using. Okay. And then I'm going to take that where I had it folded and just snip that. And if it's too big, too little, you can kind of futz with it and bring it down to where you want it. And then if one of them is too long, just kind of snip that off. And then I just used glue dot or glue dots and put it on the back. You can adhere it with your glue runner or however you want to, but I just kind of wanted them to be able to hang a little free. And then I put those kind of centered up here on the front. And again, because I'm trying to clean out my stash, I had some old sequins left over that I am going to utilize to add some bling. You can use dots, you can use butterflies, you can use whatever you have to decorate that. And then on the envelope, which is where did I put the envelope? Somewhere. It's not that one. Oh, over here. So in the Lots of Happy stamp set, there's this flower, and I think I'm going to take the Highland Heather this time, because you always want to have a little bit of something on your envelopes to kind of give it coordination. So I'm just stamping that flower on the envelope to be able to send that, and they can see something right off the bat. So I appreciate you spending your time with me. I hope that you will try this great technique with the way that you can show off the designer series paper and be able to play around with it. You can use it for any paper and use all of your coordinating stuff. I appreciate your time. I hope that you'll check out my blog and other projects that I have. Also, if you will like and share the video, it does help my channel to grow. And if you click the bell icon, it'll let you know when I do upload new videos. I appreciate you taking your time to share with me.